All right, we get right to this Fox News alert. The world is mourning the tragic death of NBA superstar Kobe Bryant.
The basketball legend and his 13-year-old daughter among 9 people killed in a helicopter crash in California. Hundreds of fans gathering outside the Staples Center in Los Angeles overnight to pay their tribute.
William LaJeunesse is live in L.A. with what went wrong moments before the chopper crashed into that mountain. William?
Well, Steve, raised in Italy, a high school star in Philadelphia, it wasn't long before Kobe seemed to own Los Angeles. After joining the Lakers at just 17, he embraced the city and fans loved him for it. Evident yesterday as flowers and tributes, jerseys and candles surrounded Staples Center and the Mamba Sports Academy, where Bryant coached his 13-year-old daughter Gianna on Saturday and hoped to return for the tournament on Sunday when their helicopter crashed. Bryant, Gigi, a pilot, and 6 other passengers all died at the scene, according to LA Fire. The chopper took off from Orange County at 9 a.m. near Bryant's home and crashed 40 minutes later in the Santa Monica Mountains.
As you can imagine, it's a logistical nightmare in a sense because the crash site itself is not easily accessible. We have to reiterate, it is off limits to everybody except the first responders and investigators.
Built in 1991, the Sikorsky 76 had no prior incidents and was operated by a reputable local company and flown by an experienced pilot. Now, a witness heard the chopper flying low and its engine struggling. Moments later, he saw it vanish in the fog and heard the crash and saw a fireball. Weather could be a factor. There was a heavy marine layer Sunday, though this helicopter can fly in zero viz. FAA and NTSB is investigating other possibles: mechanical, pilot error, a bird or drone strike, because it was flying so low. So after leaving basketball, Kobe wrote a poem called Dear Basketball, which won an Oscar in 2018.
To be honest with you, I don't miss playing in the NBA, and I don't miss the career. You know, it was 20 great years. I was very fortunate to play that long. And but now, I watch it through my daughter. My daughter plays every day, so I enjoy watching her develop. But that's about it.
Also confirmed dead Orange Coast College baseball coach John Antebelli, daughter Alyssa, and wife Carrie. L.A. Mayor Eric Garcetti said Sunday that Bryant will live forever in the heart of Los Angeles and be remembered through the ages as one of our greatest. I will tell you, Steve, tickets for tomorrow's Laker game, Laker Clipper, $960 for a single ticket. Back to you.
And there will doubtless be tributes there as well.
Can you believe Lakers Clippers, too, on top of this?
I know. William, thank you.
Thanks, William.
The president tweeted this out. Kobe Bryant, despite being one of the truly great basketball players of all time, was just getting started in life. He loved his family so much, and he had such strong passion for the future. The loss of his beautiful daughter, Gianna, makes this moment even more devastating. Melania and I send our warmest condolences to Vanessa and the wonderful Bryant family. May God be with you all. There is one other graphic we want to show you. Just one subway stop away from us here at the Fox World headquarters is Bryant Park. Yesterday, somebody put Kobe on top of Bryant Park. It is Kobe Bryant Park today in New York.
So we talk about him. There's also a guy that knew him and did some of the biggest interviews of Kobe's career. It's Jim Gray, the sportscaster, Fox News contributor. Jim, I can't imagine there's a professional side of you and there's a personal side of you. It's an important story to tell, but this is also a guy who's your friend.
He was a great friend. He was a loyal, true friend, and he remained that through his entire playing career. Shared it with me, and I was fortunate enough to be able to cover him. I knew him since virtually the day he was born. Met him when he was in his mother's arms, Pam's arms, and Jelly Bean Joe Bryant, who played with the 76ers and then the San Diego Clippers. So it was quite a ride, and it was really an honor to be involved in his career and to become his friend.
He was so young, 41 years old, leaves behind this beautiful family. Tell us some stories about him so that we can honor him this morning.
Well, you could fill a book with Kobe stories, and there are a lot of them. And you know, I'm just going to remember him as the consummate professional, the guy who wanted the most and demanded the most out of himself and others. He was hard charging. He was committed to excellence, unlike any athlete that I know. And I've been involved in sports for 40 years, and there are some great athletes: Floyd Mayweather, Muhammad Ali, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan. But this guy was so committed to two things: He wanted to win, and he was committed to excellence. He didn't care about money. He didn't care about glory. He didn't care about fame. He was not driven by any of that.
Yeah.
So you had a chance to interview him after his final game, where he scored 60 points in his final game. This is how it sounded when Kobe called it a career.
How do you want to be remembered?
You know, I said a long time ago, when I was 15 years old, I made a promise to myself and said, at the end of my career, I want people to think of me as a talented overachiever, that I was blessed with talent, but that I worked as if I had none. And if I could be remembered that way, that would be pretty good.
That's got to be hard to watch.
It's sad. I mean, everybody who cared about Kobe, we spent a lot of time crying the last 24 hours. And we shared a lot of great moments. And he took me personally on a wonderful ride. And all of us, fans across the world, Kobe and I went together a year and a half, 2 years ago to Hong Kong because they wanted to hear him speak for an hour. So we flew across the world for 36 hours together. My wife accompanied us, and Molly Carter, who works with Kobe. And the Chinese folks in Hong Kong just wanted to hear him speak for 1 hour. 1 hour. And you just couldn't believe what the airport was like, and the hoopla surrounding him. We went that night and sang karaoke, about 20 of us in a Chinese bar, and you can't believe how it just swelled and grew. And he was the Pied Piper, and he was really loved and beloved all around the world.
A lot of times when great athletes retire, they can't turn the page. Was he able to?
100%. Basketball was in his rearview mirror. Now, he was still involved. Rob Pelinka is now the general manager and head of basketball operations. That was his longtime agent. He was installed there by the Buss family to take over the Lakers, and he was Kobe's agent for all those years. But Kobe had this in his rearview mirror. He stayed involved with basketball. Details is on ESPN and ESPN Plus. He would break down Steph Curry, break down games, but he wanted to tell stories, and he was now determined in his life to be able to tell the best stories, children's stories. Won the Academy Award for the basketball dream that he put out, and he was committed to that, and he wanted to be the best at that. So yes, basketball was over. He was going to keep a hand in it, but it wasn't going to be a day-to-day thing.
What was his wife like, and what was his relationship like with her and his kids? I hear he was a great father.
He was an unbelievable father. He was very, very dedicated to those kids, and obviously, unfortunately, Gigi was in the helicopter with him. And
tell us a little bit about Gigi, because I've read she was really good at basketball.
She was, and you know, little girls have fathers' hearts, and these 4 little girls had their father wrapped around their finger, and he loved them. He dedicated his life and his time to them. Vanessa, my heart is broken for her. She has been with him her entire adult life, and I don't know how you pick up the pieces and go from here with this tragic loss, but my heart goes out to her, and it also goes out to Pam and Joe, Jelly Bean Joe Bryant and Pam, a mother and father, and his sisters. It's a loss that they will not recover from.
You know who else felt Kobe's impact? Women's basketball. He loved the WNBA through his daughters. He was helping, and Ron Harper is the coach of the LA Sparks, and he was his former teammate. He was unwinding how to get to the coach and the things that he likes, what kind of player he was, and he wanted his daughter. Evidently, his daughter was obsessed with going to UConn.
And she was going to be a WNBA player because everybody would come up to Kobe and say, "When are you going to have a boy? You need to have a boy so we can see another one of you." And Gigi would say, "Just watch, just watch, here I come." And they traveled to Las Vegas last summer to just go and watch a WNBA game, and she had greatness in her future, and it's really hard to put your head around this.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much news going on these days, and yet this is the biggest story in the world right now because so many people just love to watch him play and loved him as a man.
It should be, Steve. It should be. This guy dedicated his life to excellence. He brought joy to people. Yeah. He carried the torch. The NBA torch was passed from Connie Hawkins to Julius Erving to Magic and Bird, to Michael Jordan, to Kobe Bryant, to LeBron James. He carried the league. He won 5 championships. He won 2 gold medals. He was an 18-time All-Star. He was the 3rd leading scorer in the history of the NBA. He came back after Dr. Neil Elitrage
That's right.
repaired his torn Achilles, so that wouldn't be the lasting image of a guy who was 35 years old, could have walked away and still had everything, but he had that hardcore determination and grit, and he wanted to come back and not have that be the lasting. Pardon me?
How long ago did he retire?
He retired in 2016, April of 2016, and he was going to be inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame this coming August, and he will
Will
be.
they still
he will
do
get,
that?
Of course, he will be voted in at the Final Four.
And I know you can tell a story, but how unbelievable is it that LeBron goes ahead of him in the all-time scoring record, sits down in the locker, usually they're 1 or 2 word answers at the end of an 82-game season, but he sat there for a minute and a half and talked about what Kobe Bryant has meant to him. And the next morning, this happens.
And he had it Bryant on his shoes. He had written Mamba on his shoes and dedicated, obviously, that game and that evening to Kobe Bryant. And Kobe was so gracious in him passing him 3rd on the all-time list, just behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Karl Malone. And the irony in that, to have it done in Philadelphia, where Kobe grew up at Lower Merion High School, and to have it done by a Laker, and just to
Tiger
have
was
this
playing
happen all
yesterday,
within,
and he said he kept hearing, "Do it for Mamba, do it for Mamba," and it wasn't until he got off the 18th and his caddy said, "I need to tell you some news."
And Joe broke him the news, and he said, "Excuse me." And, you know, Tiger, a huge Laker fan, a huge Raiders fan, growing up in Los Angeles with his father, Earl, and they had remained in contact and stayed in touch, and you know, they were Nike athletes, so each of them has a building on campus up at the Beaverton headquarters, and you know, this is tough for everybody. This man touched everybody's life, from the CEOs to the sanitation workers to women's professional athletes to men in China. He touched you. We all got very familiar and very comfortable watching Kobe Bryant play basketball and the way he handled and conducted himself. And I just want to say one thing. Kobe performed thousands of acts of kindness that he did not seek any publicity for. He helped a tremendous amount of people. And he was a loyal, honorable, loving, wonderful guy.
And that is one of the reasons, Jim, why the world is stunned on this Monday morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Nobody knew him better.
Thank you for allowing us to know him. Your stories are the reason
I got to talk about him, and it's also heartbreaking to have to do it.
Indeed it is.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Thank you all.
Meanwhile, there's Jillian. You have some other breaking news.
That's right. Good morning to you. Let's begin with this Fox News alert now. A Boeing